Hello! Sorry. My name is Spike Firemain. I'm a woodcarver in the Brony fandom, and I started this panel last year at BronyCon and had a few of my friends. Dusty was one of them. Care to introduce yourself, Dusty?
Hi, guys. Who doesn't know who I am? Okay, if you don't know who I am, hi. My name's Dusty, I go by Dusty Cat in the fandom, and I'm known as the manliest brony in the world because of the comedy video I did about 4 years ago. But I continued that on with some work with comedy, some voice acting, and I do a live stream show called Stay Brony, My Friends, where I interview all those people that you got autographs from, and some other stuff. And I was a bullied kid.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Michael Arasim. I'm one of the owners of Little's Toy Company. I actually am also the sponsor for Dusty Cat's streaming video show on the internet, and I pretty much was bullied pretty much my whole life.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened with me and being bullied. When I was in first grade, I had a bully who picked on me constantly all the way through high school. He gave me swirlies, trapped me in a coat closet till I turned blue. School didn't do anything. They really didn't do anything. And they basically, I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to commit suicide in 6th grade. But I had a sense of clarity that I don't need them. They're not in control of my life. I don't need them. And I got a thick skin just from, I took the nonsense from them and just laughed it off because they're just trying to bring me down to their level because I was, above them, because I wasn't going to stoop to their level. And last year with events with Michael Morones got me infuriated, which is why I started this panel last year. And because I kind of knew what he was going through after hearing his story, that I want to reach out to you guys and help you. All right? Jesse, would you like to tell your story?
Sure. I was raised in a town of less than 5,000 people. And in that kind of town, everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew your stuff. And my dad was a state high school football player, and everybody in town knew him. I had a twin brother, and we went to grade school together. And my dad had a temper, and his sons had tempers. And I had a very bad temper when I was a little kid. And it was very easy for somebody to get me to go off just by poking me enough times. And back in the 70s, they didn't have things like ADHD. They didn't have things like attention deficit disorders or anything like that. You pay attention. You don't hit girls. You don't do this because that's not the way boys are brought up to do it. Except for when the girls come and beat you in the back of the head and then you chase them and you get in trouble. Things like that. And that happened a lot through my grade school, all the way through junior high. When I left grade school and went to junior high, my parents thought, well, it's over, the bullying's over because, well, I've gone to a new school. Those kids followed me. And then I got new kids who learned from those kids what my buttons were. And my bully, his name was Chuck Marshall. And he came up to about here on me. But he, in the 70s, was like, I took karate, right? And he's a little kid, and I'm one of the bigger kids in class. And of course, he has to prove to his friends that he's a big man by picking on me. And he picked on me through 7th grade. And he picked on me through 8th grade. And the story goes, I was on 9th grade football in 8th grade, and I was walking down to class. It was lunch, right? I don't know about your schools, but at lunchtime you could leave campus and go get something and come back. And me and 3 of my friends were walking out to get some lunch, and him and his group, which was about 30 kids, were walking back. And he saw me and saw this opportunity to look good in front of 30 people, right? So he comes up to me and he starts, shoving me. Come on, Rhodes, I want to fight you. And I told him straight to his face, why? Because my dad was 6'1", 320 pounds, a semi-pro football player and Ford factory worker, and he said, you don't fight in school. And you don't say no to the man. So no matter what, I took it until that day. And he just found the right day. And I had a bad morning, and I snapped. I said, okay, you want a piece. And in a white rage, I put him in the hospital. And I broke his orbital socket. I kicked him so hard underneath his right thigh that he bruised for a month and a half. In fact, this is what was told to me that happened, right? The 3 guys that were with me pulled me off of him after he tried karate kicking me. And I basically had him on the ground and was pounding his head in the ground. I don't remember any of it. And when they pulled me off, he got up and kicked me in the chest, and they went and let me go. And at that point, his friends pulled me off because I wasn't going to stop, because I had let it go so far, and the school had let it go so far. And some stuff happened with principals and fathers and things. But my father stood up for me, and I'll never forget it. That I was the Marine City Police were there, and they were to haul me off to jail, and his father's all, my son got assaulted, blah, 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 blah. And my dad came from Van Dyke, Detroit, all the way back home for this, and got in the principal's face saying, I just lost 3/4 of a day of work because you can't control these kids, because they've been on my son for 2 freaking years, and you've done nothing about it. And you're not going to suspend my son, or I will sue you. I'll sue you, I'll sue the police department, I'll sue the school district. You get your shit together. I'll never forget it. And when I got home, my dad said, we sat down, we watched TV, and it was all like, my dad's watching TV, and you're sitting there going, oh God, I fell out in school, and I'm in trouble. And after, about an hour, he just looked at me, and he said, come to me. If this, it gets that bad, come to me, because I'll go talk. So if you have that person or that group of people at school that doesn't leave you alone, and you think you can't go to your parents, that's wrong thinking, because they love you and they want to see you succeed. They want to see you happy. And if this is happening at school and these people won't back off, and the school won't do anything about it, then you go talk to your parents and you tell them what's going on, and they'll go talk to the adults, and they'll get satisfaction from the adults, or something's going to happen. Okay? Don't think that you can't go talk to your folks. At any age, you can talk to your folks. I'm 47 freaking years old, and I call my dad because he knows he's forgotten more than I could ever learn, about motorcycles, and I went to MMI for it. But there's somebody there for you to talk to at all times, even if you don't think you can talk to your folks. There's hotlines. There's all kinds of support out there. Okay, there wasn't that much for me back in the 70s, but now today you've got all kinds of things. You've got suicide hotlines, and you've got all kinds of people you can talk to. You can talk to me. I've got a website. I tell everybody at these panels, if you can't talk to anybody else, you send me an email, and I'll help you. I had a kid email me last month saying, his parents won't do anything, the school won't do anything, he's feeling despondent, and I said, here's 3 phone calls. Go call these people now. I'll look it up in your area. I had some kid in Ontario call me, email me, and I looked up all the phone numbers in Ontario that I could get for him locally. I said, here, go call that. Call it now. Now, go now. I'll help you. you know. Somebody will be there for you. And every now and then, you got to stand up for yourself. I mean, a lot of schools say, you know, just laugh it off or just walk away or whatever. And I tried that for years. And guys like Chuck Marshall kicked me in the back while I walked away. And I got up and I walked away anyway. And finally you get to a point where you have to stand up for yourself. And that's what life is. You got to stand up for yourself at times and just say, you know what, I ain't gonna take this anymore because I'm better than that. And I understand that I'm better than that. And one of the reasons they got on me when I was in grade school was I was reading at 12th grade level in 6th grade. I was a very smart person. And that's dangerous to somebody who's not. Because they feel inferior, they feel like they're not as good as you are, so therefore they need to bring you down. And that makes them feel powerful because they're bringing you down instead of lifting themselves up and learning and all of that. I've gone off on a tangent, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, I do that. You'll learn that I do that. I'll just say straight up. Somebody out there loves you, okay? Your parents, your grandparents, you know, your friends, that one friend that you can go to at any time and just talk about things. So when you're feeling despondent and you're feeling like nobody is there, somebody is, trust me.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, from the day I walked into school, I was picked on, called names, pushed around, beaten up, stuff shoved in my face. You name it, it happened to me. Went all the way through elementary school, all the way through middle school, high school. I never had that aha moment where I decided to stand up for myself. And as I got older, it started to affect me more. When I was a kid, very young, I could kind of brush it off, you know. I get out of school, go home. At least when I'm home, it's my time. I do whatever I want. But as I got older, I was very big into family. Family members started to move away. Family get-togethers got less and less. Then when I was 14, my dad died, and I started to cut myself. And things gradually got worse and worse. And it's true what they say that once you're out of high school, bullying stops. You know, kids forget about it. But for me, the side effects of bullying lasted, actually, they're still with me today. It wasn't until a couple years ago that I actually decided to start, you know, honestly, it was because I met my now best friend and business partner. You know, hanging around them, they were the ones who helped me build up my self-esteem. You know, they were the ones that, you know, helped me to start to see that I'm actually worth something. I'm not just a piece of garbage. I think the scariest part for me was at some point in my life, it went from cutting myself for the attention of help, you know, saying somebody help me, to constant thoughts of suicide, and watching my mom go through the pain of losing my father. I said that I would never want to do that to my mom. And so I had promised myself at one time, the scariest part was, one day I woke up and I had said, I had decided that once my mom was gone, I was going to end it. And for whatever reason that day, I was completely okay with it. I was at peace with that. As soon as my mom was gone, I was going to end my life. And then one day, one day I forgot that promise. I was on antidepressants, and I grabbed a handful of pills, and I popped them in my mouth, and I pretty much said goodbye, and I went to sleep, and I was hoping I was never going to wake up again. And the only thing I actually woke up with was feeling really sick. Man, I was sick as a dog when I woke up. I was throwing up all over the place. And I think that was kind of the turning point for me, where I started to realize that, no matter how bad things get, as long as you're still here, things can get better. Once you're gone, once you commit to ending your life, that's it. There's no turning back. There's no turning around. It's over. And so then, a few years later, I met my new best friends, my business partners. Now I have businesses. I have thriving businesses. I'm doing well. Don't get me wrong, I'm still very angry inside. But I'm working on it. I'm working through it. And, just take it day by day. And that's it.
Who here has ever been called names at all? With show of hands. Okay, I don't know what names you've probably been called because there's quite a number to list through. But who here has ever heard of George Carlin? Okay. I'm going to quote something that he quoted last year, and it was from his one stand-up special, doing it again. It was basically called Words. There's absolutely nothing wrong with words, any words in and of themselves. They're only words. It's the context that counts. It's the user. It's the intention behind the words that makes them good or bad. The words are completely neutral. The words are innocent. I get tired about people talking about bad words and bad language. Baloney. It's the context that makes them good or bad. The context that makes them good or bad. So, I don't know what has been said, but through the Michael Moronis family interview that Final Draft of Everfree Network did, some of the things that were said, gay, they were calling him gay. For those who don't know, Old English term is happy. Like if anybody's seen the Flintstones theme song, we'll have a gay old time. Okay? Exactly. It means happy. I've heard some people being called fags and faggots. Fags are cigarettes in the UK. Faggot is a bundle of sticks or a textile term. Okay? Because of that Urban Dictionary thing, a lot of words have been changed. Derpy was one of them, if you think about it, right? Derpy originally meant oops, error, and then when they looked on it, on that Urban Dictionary, it was also retarded. Derpy means oops, a mistake, an error. That's how we gave her that name. So, best thing I can think of, if anybody's being called names, especially like those kind of names, look up the true meaning. The Old English terms and not the urban terms. That way you can rebuttal, to show them that you know the exact meaning, the true meaning of what those words are.
How many people here know that the color pink was a masculine color? The color pink was a masculine color in Europe for hundreds of years until the color came to the United States, or until it came over with the immigration of humans into the United States. And somehow, some way, pink got changed into girls' color and blue was the boys' color, when actually that was reversed. Blue was a girl's color. back in the day. Don't ask me who changed it. I have no idea. But and don't ask me why a color is labeled as a gender, tag in the first place. A color's a color.
Yeah.
If I want to wear something that's chartreuse, god dang it, I'm going to wear it. Okay? How many people are fans of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? How many people have watched him dress in drag on Saturday Night Live? Okay? Is he any less masculine today for doing that? Hell no. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was a comedian named Flip Wilson. Who here knows who Flip Wilson is? Okay? Geraldine. Okay? How many people know Uncle Milty?
Yeah, Milton Berle.
Milton Berle. Milton Berle dressed in drag every week on TV. I watched. My parents sit me down and we watched Saturday night. We had the Flip Wilson show. We had, all of those shows. Almost all of those comedians from that era dressed in drag and did comedy. And they weren't any less masculine for it. It was just comedy. It's no less masculine to wear whatever you want. How many people saw Bronies react to 100? Didn't I look good in a skirt? I got some gams, baby. I surprised myself. I was like, wow. So yeah, I did that because Dwayne Johnson did it, and he's my hero.
Yeah.
And I want to be like him. And if he can do it, goddamn, I can do it. Okay? And don't let society tell you what you can and can't do. Okay? Magazines, TV, this stupid thing. Okay? They all tell you what to wear, what to put in your hair, what to put in your mouth, what body cream to slather all over you so you don't get sunburn, in all these ways. Who cares?
Yeah.
I use what I use because it works for me, I actually found a really nice, bald hair cream from, Twitter, because this Be Bald company said, wow, hey, try this stuff. Oh, great, that's awesome. I just started using it, and it's great stuff. But don't let TV, 17 magazine, Cosmopolitan, whatever magazine you're reading as kids these days, or a radio, magazine, trust me. Those things are periodicals, remember those?
Yeah.
Or a website, or whatever, tell you what to like. I mean, when I was in high school, I was the biggest metalhead in the world. I listened to Ozzy Osbourne, and I listened to all these really great all these metal songs, right? And all of a sudden, I'd flip over and I'd listen to like singer-songwriters of the 70s because I like good music. And I'd be listening to that in high school, and guys would be giving me crud for it because it's not, chunky metal. But it's like, dude, listen to the lyrics and listen to the melody. And they didn't care because WRIF in Detroit told them that, the hot band this week was Slaughter. It's like, I don't care. I like Slaughter, but I like this even more. It's how to explain it? Free thinking, okay? There's a term out there called free thinking. And what it means is use this brain bucket that you got to make up your own mind, to try something. If you don't like it, then you don't like it, and that's fine. But if you do like it, do it again, because now you figured out something you like. Try drawing. If you're not very good at it, and you don't like to draw, and you don't want to waste the time, go do something else. That doesn't mean you have to draw. You can do pottery. You can do spray painting. You can do airbrushing. You can do whatever. You can make costuming. There's many different ways to be creative and to think for yourself, right? Don't be afraid to be smart because somebody else doesn't like it, right? Don't be afraid to use your brain. I was so good at algebra in high school that I could do my homework before class started. And that hurt me, actually. I went to college and I couldn't study. I didn't know how. but enjoy what you want to enjoy. There's a term that I use for people, and it says, "And harm none, do as you will." And it came out of Wiccan religion back in the day. But I use it just because it's a really great thing to think about. If you don't harm anybody else and you enjoy it, what's the problem? Really? Who cares?
Yeah.
If you're not harming anybody else with what you do, then what is it their problem? It's their problem, not yours. It's not their business. Okay? If I want to sit at home on Saturday morning in PJs with a bowl of tricks and watch ponies, what does it freaking hurt you? Why is your masculinity harmed by me watching ponies? You know, it's not my problem that you feel that your masculinity is being hurt because I watch ponies. That's not really my problem. It's yours.
Well, one thing that when you brought up with the being fluid,
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite quotes I've ever heard was from Bruce Lee. Anyone never heard of Bruce Lee? All right, I'm gonna. You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised.
He had said once, "Be like water. Water is shapeless and formless. Pour it into a pitcher, it becomes a pitcher. Pour it into a teacup, it becomes a teacup. Be water." So keep that in, be. I not only do wood carvings, I also do theater work, okay? I like to entertain people, I like to make people happy. And my brother gave me that opportunity about 3 years ago, all right? And I enjoy every minute of it. My mother can tell you, I've been in at least 9 shows, 9 different shows. I've been in everything from Pocahontas to Shrek the Musical, and that was my favorite one. I mean, if you've ever seen that one, there's one song in there, Freak Flag. And I love the lyrics. It's, be proud of who you are. Let that freak flag wave. All right? A lot of, I wear, not this shirt, but I actually have my OC on the shirt underneath this. I wear that everywhere, whether I'm at a convention or not. I wear it, and I wear it with pride. I'm proud to be a Brony. Black Griffin. But if you need some songs to be inspired by, Proud to be a Brony is a great one. Because you be proud of who you are. And nothing can, as long as you have that pride in yourself, whatever they say to you won't matter. Because you got that pride, you got that self-confidence being a Brony. Look at our track record. Millions of dollars raised for charity. Where I don't know what the census number is this year. I know last year was like 4.5 million. From the 7 million
we're at
this
7
year?
now.
7. Like I said,
We're our own small country.
Yes.
I say, you know what I say? I say we should go take over Puerto Rico.
Another one, Great to Be Different by Forest Rain. Beautiful song. As I mentioned, Freak Flag from Shrek the Musical. Another one, 10,000 Fists from Disturbed. It's a song about unity, being unified, 10,000 fists in the air. Think about it. That's 10,000 people together. And I was at a Disturbed concert when they played that, and there was 10,000 fists in the air. Everybody had their fists up. It was amazing to see that. Another one is Indestructible by Disturbed. Having that indestructible mindset, words will not hurt me. It will just bounce off. Because I'm indestructible, they're not gonna break me. There are a lot of other songs, but those are the ones that came to my mind. And that's you know, like I said, I'm in theater. If you want to be creative and you want to perform for people, community theater is the best way to get started. I don't know, I don't know where from everywhere it's from. I'm from Long Island. My brother teaches children acting, and he's probably, he's actually doing a show right now, and it's the best way to build self-confidence. 2, public speaking, because you're performing in front of a lot of people. I performed in Mulan at a packed house of 600 people. Didn't bother me because when you get into that character, you don't see that whole breaking the fourth wall. When you're acting, you're so focused on performing, you actually just see a wall. You don't see people. That's when I've gotten so used to performing. When I'm doing lines, I don't go. I just converse with the person I'm supposed to be conversing with.
Which is what acting is.
Yeah.
Basically, I just took 4 weeks of acting classes myself. I've been working with Michael Dobson to try and become more of a voice actor, and he said, take an acting class. I didn't understand acting until I did that, and it is an acting, public speaking, music, okay? All these things that we don't do in high school anymore. Shop class, economics, home economics. You know what home economics was back when I was a kid? How do you do your checkbook? How do you make food for yourself? How do you sew, right? I know kids that are like in college, can't change a tire. They can't make macaroni and cheese, right? That's one of the reasons why I do the cooking videos on my channel, because I'm trying to teach you kids what my parents taught me, is that if you can feed yourself, then, the sky's the limit. If you can make a burger, then you got some skills, right? I mean, if you can make a burger and if you can make food for yourself, you can do anything. You can do anything, really. So, I'll put more up there later, but learn these things, because learning how to take a test isn't going to help you much when you get out in the world, right? You need to learn how to think through a problem. And that just thinking through 4 times 9 minus 3 divided by 2, that don't help you. Trying to figure out tab A and slot B on part 32 right? So, right. So my dad taught me mechanics when I was about 11. Because he bought me, my dad was a motorcyclist, my grandfather was a motorcyclist, my grandfather had a Yamaha shop. My dad bought me a dirt bike when I was 12 years old and said, fix it. I ain't fixing it for you. I'll point stuff out, I'll teach you how to do it, but you're gonna fix that bike. And sure enough, it led me to my career, where I went to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. I worked at 2 Harley-Davidson dealerships. I worked in research and development for a company named Custom Chrome, working with all those clowns you saw on TV a few years ago, including Jesse James. Making parts in places like South Korea and Taiwan and Mexico City, where I had to fly to and deal with international business, because my dad taught me how to turn a wrench when I was 11 years old.
And my mom can verify for me. How old was I when Dad taught me how to do woodworking? 5 years old. On my 5th birthday. I'm 32 now, 27 years, and basically doing this for 27 years. So I've learned a lot from my dad in the woodcraft. Dusty with,
Art, music, writing teaches the brain to figure out problems, to learn a language of music. Learn a language, learn Spanish. Spanish is an awesome language. Learn Mandarin Chinese, it's the business language of Asia. But push yourself. If you love watching anime, right? There's plenty of ways out there to learn enough Japanese to watch it in their native language, right? So if you like Japanese animation, learn Japanese. At least enough to watch your favorite shows. It pushes your brain. It helps you learn things. And then when you learn these things, you have self-esteem that, hey, you can go to school and say, hey guys, I know Japanese. Or I can play the trumpet, or I can play 3 chords on the guitar that you can't play, or I can play bass, or I can hit the drums, or I can do whatever, right? And that gives you all this self-confidence in the world. And when somebody says, you don't know jack, it's like,
Well, okay.
you can give them a whole sentence in Japanese that's puts them down. They don't even know what the hell you said. Wouldn't that be fun?
Open the floor to questions now?
Yeah, how about we do that?
We'll open the floor to questions.
Well, how about we open the floor to questions? We have a microphone back there?
Give him 1 moment. Water.
Pitcher. Cup. The water.
You want them to line up right there? Would that be good for you guys? Okay.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Before we begin, it's gonna be a bit of a story. Is that okay?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, when I was growing up, I was bullied too, and pretty much the main thing I was bullied over was my last name, and it unfortunately shared a name with a certain someone who posted a certain picture on Twitter. So imagine the awkwardness after that. But yeah, I would say the bullying was at its worst at middle school, and surprisingly enough, it stopped at high school. And it also doesn't help that I have disabilities. I have ADHD, I'm nearsighted, and I have very severe high-frequency hearing loss. And I also want to say that ponies have gotten me through difficult times. Last year at Everfree Northwest, I met a girl who was cosplaying as Flufflepuff, and she did everything to brighten up anyone's day. She was always ready with a hug. And we became pretty quick friends, and I found out that we share a lot of similar disabilities, especially in terms of hearing. And I remember she told a very moving story at the Dear Princess panel last year. So at Everfree, towards the end of Everfree Northwest this year, I found out that a very dear friend of mine passed away suddenly. And I'll never forget that I just broke down on the spot. I can't even remember the last time I cried so hard. And I'll never forget the kindness of complete strangers and the support of my friend that was there. That got me through that very difficult time. I honestly just don't know what I would have done if I had been alone at the time. Because it's just been a very rough year for me in general. So I just want to give my personal thanks on that.
Anybody else?
Remember one thing. You have friends here in the Brony community, no matter, you've never met them yet or you have them in here. You've got friends in this community. This is one great thing about this community. The friendship you make through this. Never forget that. Exactly.
I'm a teacher, and I was wondering, I have 2 questions. First, I have a lot of kids that come up to me and say they're being bullied, and they're actually not, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if you knew how to tell for sure, because it's not something that happens all the time, and they have a hard time deciphering, like, what is, if they're actually being bullied, or if they're just, somebody's having a bad day and just, says something mean, like, because normally, I know in my, when I've gone through trainings, they say that bullying is an ongoing thing. It's something that happens constantly to that person. And so I know it's mostly my girls that have the problem, and it's very hard for me to decipher which one is actually being bullied and which one isn't. And I also wanted to ask if you had any advice for a teacher if somebody is being bullied. What do you think a teacher could do to help that student? And I teach 3rd grade, if that helps.
There are going to be isolated incidents of, some kids having a bad day and they're pushing around another kid, and that kid feels like they're being bullied. Maybe that kid was pushed around by a different kid, pushed around by a different kid even then. I had more than one bully, okay? I had, like, most of my grade school class would bully me. But it would be that kid that day, that kid that day. It's almost like they had a punch clock. I was like, okay, you get Tuesday, you get Wednesday, you get Thursday. And maybe that child that comes up to you feels like they're being bullied because they were bullied by other people on down the line. And I wouldn't take it I wouldn't take some kid saying that they're bullied lightly. I would totally investigate it to a point that I could. Now, you open up that can of worms, it's like, okay, well, if you start protecting that child, it might make it worse. So, as a teacher, the first thing I would do is go to the kid's parents and say, do you know that your son or daughter is doing this? Because a lot of folks don't, because they're like Dom and Tiaras. They're at home, they're absolutely darling children, but when they're at school, out from underneath their parents' thumb, they get away with whatever they can, because that's what they feel is power. So the first thing I would do is I would probably get a hold of their parents if I could, if the school district allows me to do that, because some don't even do that anymore, don't allow it.
Well, my school district allows that, but most of my parents jump back at me and say, well, that person was bullying my daughter first, or my brother, or my son, or whatever.
Yeah,
so it goes
I-
back and forth, and I live in a very difficult area where parents don't really accept.
Responsibility.
I feel for
Yeah.
teachers. I feel for teachers today.
Yeah,
They do not get paid enough for the bullshit they have to put up with. Don't ever use that word.
yeah.
But they don't get paid nearly enough for the crud they need to go through, and today's parents are yesterday's entitled children. Basically, they came up, everyone's told them to go to college, they got fed everything with a silver spoon, and it couldn't ever be their kids. Couldn't ever be their kids. Until you get them on tape, and even then they say, well, someone must have, encouraged them to do that. It wasn't my kid's fault. And all I can say is I'm very sorry that you have to put up with that. But if you know it's that kid and the parents say it's not my kid and you know it's their kid, you're the authority in that classroom. And you say, I know it's your kid because it's my job to know it's your kid. If you don't, if you don't believe me, go to my principal, because my principal will have my back. Or go to my superintendent, because my superintendent will have my back. But again, I had the greatest teacher in, 5th grade. He was a fan of the Iron Sheik wrestler. And he knew wrestling holds. And he would mess with us every now and then. But this is the 70s, you could do that back in those days. But when the bell rang, it was his room, and that was it. You didn't mess around. It was his room. And he ran it like the military. As like, you shut up, you pay attention, and this is what's going to happen. Because if you didn't, you were standing in a corner. Because I've got a classroom to run, and I've got kids to teach. And if you don't want to be taught, you can stand over there, or you can go down to detention or whatever. If you don't want to hear what I'm listening, if you don't want to listen to what I'm teaching, I don't need you in my room, because there's a lot of little minds here who want to. And that's the way he ran his room. And I swear to God, it was the best teacher I ever had. I wish we could still do that.
Yeah.
I really do. But, yeah.
Cool. Is it on?
Yeah.
Hi. This is a question for the man on the right over here. Hi.
Hello.
So you had mentioned some like bad habits that you used to cope with the loss of your father, and I can really relate to that because I was bullied a lot in school for being gay, and it was just treacherous. It was really difficult. And like a lot of people had mentioned, it did kind of stop after high school, but that followed me around really hard, and I started coping with it with self-mutilation like you, but also drinking, and I became a really heavy alcoholic. And I've been sober for 20 months now, which
Congratulations.
just a little over the amount of time I've been a Brony, not a coincidence. But I was wondering, because I still, you said you still had so much anger in you, and I still feel that too, and I just wonder, like, I feel like without doing a habit, like, did you quit, self-mutilating, or what do you do to fill that hole, and and my other question would be, like, how does Ponies kind of help fill that hole for you and kind of help to ease some of that rage?
Actually, that's actually something I'm kind of working on right now. I actually haven't found a complete solution. I'm actually thinking about taking up drumming. I'm actually thinking about taking up playing bass guitar. Ponies have definitely helped. I think a lot of it is actually finding a healthy outlet. Maybe writing. You don't have to share it with anybody. Write your feelings. You're angry, write whatever you're feeling at that moment. Find something you have a passion for. Whatever it is. You like to do art, do art. Try different things. Hey, I've always thought of doing this. Well, why didn't you? Well, because I never really thought I was worth anything. Well, try it now. It's never too late to, pick up a new talent or pick up a new hobby or whatever. But no, I think the biggest thing is just trying to figure out what it is that you can do to help get the aggression out, because otherwise it's going to come out in very unhealthy ways, and that's not good at all. I used to chain smoke. I smoked 3 packs a day for years, until I finally realized, what I was doing to myself and how much it was costing me. Some people, counseling helps. Go talk to somebody. Some people may not need a counselor. Some people might just need somebody to talk to. So I think that's a lot of it. Finding an outlet, somebody to talk to. There's many different things you could do. And I honestly think that's one of the biggest problems we have. We don't have enough people to turn to, and let's be honest, as much as the 3 of us up here would probably be willing to talk to anybody at any given time, we have our own lives and we all get busy. We can always say, hey, I'm always available to, but there's going to be those moments where, I'm prepping for conventions, or I got this going on, or I got that going on, and, I'm just not going to have time to pick up the phone if somebody calls me, unfortunately. I'm going to be so not just having one person to talk to, but having multiple people to talk to in your life. So that way, okay, Bill's not around, I can go to Tina or whoever, just certain people, because it's not that they're ignoring you, it's just that, they just got something going on. The other thing too is surround yourself with positive people.
Okay.
If you surround yourself with negative people, it will just continue to add to your issues. If you have low self-esteem, it will just continue to add to your low self-esteem. Positive people, positive energy, it's all just, it's part of the solution.
Don't ever feel bad about kicking toxic people out of your life.
Right.
Don't ever feel bad about it.
And you know what?
It could be a girlfriend. It could be, I've been in a number of relationships I don't like to even think about, where I was stupid and stayed with a woman for 3 or 4 years when I should have left within 3 or 4 hours. And I lost a big chunk of my life to bad and sour relationships until later in life when I learned the lessons and thought to myself, I don't need toxic people in my life. I don't. Somebody comes on my YouTube channel and says blah blah blah, block. Don't care. Next.
Let me just one thing out though. With him, with going on for with writing things down, I'm gonna give you guys homework to do. From now until 2016, that's 366 days. Keep a journal entry, but write it as though you're writing to your favorite pony, as though you're writing to your best friend. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because the greatest story never told is your own. All right? Can you guys do that for me? Keeping a journal. Okay.
It'll be tough.
It will be tough, but it takes 90 days to get into a habit. But once you start doing it for 90 days, you'll realize, oh, then it becomes automatic.
Next.
Next.
Pick one.
Pick one.
Yes, we're giving you the tough
Okay,
job.
That's right.
We'll go with him over there.
We'll go
The guy in the BronyCon shirt.
BronyCon shirt over here, right?
Your staff guy, right over here.
Staff.
Right behind you, dude. Turn around.
No,
The other behind you.
Right
the other
there.
behind you.
Thank you, I appreciate that, bud. Just kind of get up here,
Okay.
not be nervous. Hi, my name's Essen. I'm kind of the reverse of everybody else in this room. I used to be a bully, a really mean kid. And it was because I wanted things that everybody else seemed to have. I was orphaned as a child, so I was mad because this person had lunch brought home or brought to school from their parents. This person had an awesome sibling. This person had a father who was a modern day swordsman. Yeah. But when I turned 15, I lost some people who were pretty close to me. And I kind of became homeless, and that was very unfortunate. But when I realized that, well, I didn't have that much to begin with, it was sort of easy to start building myself back up in a better way. And one of the things I used to do that was love, not to sound cheesy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let the Brony community know that no matter the anger you feel, or how alone you feel, or betrayed you feel for something, love is going to be the greatest thing in your life. My love brought me from being a bully to help volunteering at the biggest BronyCon convention ever. So I think I just wanted to say I love you all.
We got 5 minutes, so grab somebody. How about Fluttershy over there?
Fluttershy. Where are we going?
Right there. You and the yellow ears. Right there.
Hi. My biggest bully in my life has been my mom. She's alcoholic. I'm financially dependent on her because I'm a student. I still live with her. I don't really know how, and haven't known how to deal with her. When she gets drunk, she tells me that she hates me. Do you have any advice on how to deal with that? Like, should I cut her out of my life when I'm able to?
It sounds like you've tried very hard to help her. I hear that in your voice. And I want you to take this to heart. And I know it's your mom, but remember what I said about toxic people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know it's your mom. I know you love her, but you staying there and staying around might be her crutch.
Yeah.
Because she can drink and be angry, and she knows you're going to come back.
Yeah.
And the minute you don't come back, she might realize what she's done or what she's doing because she hasn't had any consequence
That's true.
to what she's done. So I will tell you straight up that toxic people will never, ever be good in your life, ever. Whether they're relations, whether they're your mom or your dad or a grandparent. Toxic people are toxic people, whoever they are. And if they're not good for you, then they need to go. And if they get themselves straight and they want to be back in your life, then it's up to them to open that door. She has to earn it back.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm a twin. I'm a twin without a brother right now because he's toxic. My fraternal twin, the other half of me, is toxic in my life. And he cut my little brother out of our family. And I called him and I said, we're done. You don't do that because you married some woman who had 2 kids that you think loves you, that's basically using your butt, and cuts off your own flesh and blood. We're done. If you want to be back in my life, you better get your shit straight. And he's my twin. Okay? But he's toxic. Toxic. He thinks what I'm doing is the worst thing in the world. He hates my Bronydom. He hates the things that I do because it makes him look like an asshole. And that's him being a bully to me, and he's my brother. But he's out of my life. I sent him a copy of the Brony Tale movie I was in. I sent him a Christmas card. I sent him $60 cash so he could take his new wife out to dinner. What did he do? He put it in an envelope and sent it back to me without even opening it. Without even opening it.
At least you know.
If that's the way you want to treat me, if that's the way you want to treat your flesh and blood family, we're done.
Thank you.
I think what time
Yeah,
we got.
unfortunately, we're out of time.
We're out of time.
So the
gang. We're out of
panelists
time.
will be happy to talk with you just outside these
Yeah,
doors.
we need to go outside the door.
Yeah.
But thank you very much
Thank
for
you very
coming.
much.
Thank you.